Hey, I appreciate you guys for showing up today. We got a really, really special treat for you. Trevor, normally doesn't do this, but I convinced Trevor to do a free workshop today regarding DSCR. Me and him and I have been in communication, and he's having a lot of success with DSCR. And in a lot of cases, guys, I know we kind of had like a little fad with the HELOCs. You guys got guys like Simon Glenn crushing that. So I want to start getting more people. Like if you guys are winning with like a specific program, I want you to let me know because we can give you the floor. Obviously, this is an honor for me, especially to have Trevor here. As you guys know, Trevor helped us design. He had a very significant hand in helping us design the idea of Lead Hackers 2.0. I'll attribute the glitches to Brandon because he had to remake everything. But as far as the concept behind it, Trevor had a big hand in that. And I really, really am excited for you guys because I know that he's doing DSCR right now and he's closing deals. He showed me the deals. So I was like, hey, can we get you on a call to the rest of these lead hackers? This is actually the most attendees I've ever had on a coaching call, which is awesome. We got about 55 people here. And I'm just super excited to share this with you guys because there's not, guys, we can only take you so far, right? Obviously, I know a lot about lead generation, but to hear from somebody who is a actual mortgage broker, I think is invaluable to you guys. And just for those of you who don't know who Trevor Gravink is, Trevor has had a wow. There's a lot of people joining this. So Trevor has had a huge hand in helping us with lead hackers, whether it comes to strategy, whether it comes to ads. If you guys have ever been sent a sales script from me, it's Trevor's. Okay, so this guy knows a lot. He did about 84 million in volume from April 2022 to May 2023. He was a top 1% at UWM in 2020. He's closed about 400 loans since 2018. So this guy is consistent and he's all about self lead generation. Yes, Chris, this will be recorded. We're going to put this in the Facebook group. And yeah, there absolutely will be a Q&A at the end. Yeah, I know Brandon's still doing Q&A, so people may be in here in a sec. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm sure Brandon's pushing people. Wow. Guys, we're pushing 70 people in this group, which is amazing. I think we only had about 80 registrations, so that's a pretty incredible show rate. Not something we normally get on our webinars. So that means a lot of people are very excited about this. Anyways, guys, without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Trevor Gravink. He's super excited to talk to you guys about DSCR. If you're here, make sure you're paying attention. Okay, this is going to be the best hour as far as ROI goes on your time possible. I promise you guys that. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to give the floor to Trevor. Trevor, floor is yours, man.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. I really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for jumping on, and excited to be able to hopefully give you guys a little bit of wisdom that I've learned over the years. Been doing leads since I was, I don't know, 16, from leads from television and everything else. I've been around a lot of people, a lot of marketing, a lot of sales, and just kind of eventually ended up into the mortgage space. And yes, built my entire business on leads. And then obviously the market took a turn, guys. So kind of had to pivot. And that's when I decided to kind of figure out where I could get leads that would still be able to perform. And that's what you guys need to do, is kind of figure out your clientele, right? Who do you like to work with? Not everybody wants to do DSCR loans, okay, or work with investors. Not everybody wants to work with first-time homebuyers. But what I would suggest to you is that you figure out where you are, like what markets you're in, who's in those markets, and what type of people that you want to work with. And when I looked at everything, I've invested in real estate myself. I know a lot of people that have done real estate investing. And so that's where I decided to pour my energy in. So the last, I don't know, since the market turned, we did a lot of different types of leads. And DSCR was the one that kind of stuck, and really, I really enjoyed working with the investors because one, they're numbers people, right? So I'm not having to re-explain myself a lot with first-time investors. and they're repeat business. Okay, so that's always nice. A lot of times they work with other investors, and they're not so rate sensitive, right? They're cash flow sensitive. And so I sat down, I planned out everything of who I wanted to work with. And then from there, we started putting together the marketing and some of the things behind it. I'm not saying that DSCR and working with investors is for everyone. Okay, but what I am telling you is Alex has opened up the doors to lead hackers, so I can see what people are running. And for some of the people, I can see you're running like multiple different programs, which is fine. Maybe you're trying to find your sweet spot. Totally okay. But what I would suggest is, maybe narrowing it down to a product so you can become a product expert at that. Because when I talk to people over the phones and I talk to investors, if they know, like, and trust me from the very first phone call, are they going to go back to Google or back to Facebook and click on another ad? No, they're not. In most cases, I can convince them not to do that if I give them all the information. Or if they've already talked to people, I'm going to ask them questions that I can almost guarantee you the other broker or lender did not ask them or tell them about. So then I can either make that person not look as good as me or have them be a little bit like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that, so I really need to listen to Trevor. Okay, and you can just do that by really just thinking about everything that somebody should be asking you, right? So you need to kind of go through and be able to do that. So for example, let's just talk about some things that I do on a sales call, and maybe you've watched some of my sales trainings and scripts, but we'll just do it from the beginning. Is one thing I'll always ask them if they've already, talked to somebody or had their credit pulled, is immediately I talk about rapid rescores. Okay. I don't know if you offer those to your clients, but I always do. And a lot of times they don't work out, sometimes just because it doesn't talk about in the ranges of getting somebody into a different credit bucket. But just bringing it up, they're like, no, the last lender didn't tell me about that. Okay, well, let me tell you how that might be able to be advantageous for you. And we talk about, the three scores, and then I talk about the scores underneath, the wayfinder, and how I might be able to potentially get them into a better rate by quickly rapid rescore. That's just one thing. On DSCR loans, most lenders just start talking about rates, but they don't tell the borrowers about prepayment penalties. So I just say, okay, what prepayment penalty did the last person quote you on? They don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, DSCR loans come with prepayment penalties. They didn't go over that with you because a lot of times they like to potentially, quote a better rate. That might come with a 5-year prepayment penalty. I'm sure you don't want that, right? Okay. So just kind of going through those different things. If it's a first time investor, talking about, did they tell you that, your credit score needs to be higher? If they're a first time home buyer, you really got to like dumb it down to the lowest level of things for people, guys. Never assume that they know something, and go very slow with like a first time home buyer. So you really kind of have to sit down and go through everything step by step by step. But one thing obviously that we have today, guys, is we have a ton of information and technology out there to be able to help us with all of this and figure out what people are actually already out there, looking at. So you can go to like plenty of different tools for yourself. You may not be, potentially on TikTok or on Instagram for the purposes of actually just watching videos, but it is a great way to see what videos potentially are getting tons and tons of views. And that means people are searching and watching for that. So, for example, I can just type in DSCR loans and it's going to tell me, we'll turn that off. It'll tell you how many searches are for certain things, right? So if I do this, it's going to tell me what other people have searched for over here and how many views that they've had. So all these things are people that are searching. It's telling me what people want to
Oh,
know.
wow.
Okay. So now I kind of have an idea of like, okay, DSCR loan disadvantages. What do people want to know? But not only that, I'll click on this in my own free time. What are these people talking about? Uh, and I learn from them how they explain something, because maybe I was explaining, the prepayment penalty one way, and then I watch somebody, I'm like, oh, that's such a better and more simple way to be able to explain this. Okay, so you can do all of your research, by going to here. You can do it by going into, even if you don't have an AdWords, you're not running AdWords, they do have the keyword right here, planner, and you can go here and go discover new keywords, and you can put in a website. So for example, I just go to Google, let's go to DSCR loans. We know all the good lenders, right? But we can just pick out a URL for one of these. So we'll just go to Griffin Funding, for example. And if you copy this and you paste it in, and we'll just type in DSCR loans, it's also going to tell you what people are searching for. And if they're searching for it, that means they want to know it. DSCR loan requirements, DSCR, meaning, rates, all this different stuff. But it's going to have all these different things that people are searching so that you can kind of figure out what people, potentially want to know. If you haven't been through my scripts, I get into much more details about that kind of stuff, but that's what you should be doing, is trying to figure out all the ins and outs of the loans and really getting into the nitty gritty of the boring stuff so that you can become knowledgeable. I mean, nobody likes to look at guidelines, okay? But I'll just sit here and I'll open up one person's guideline when I'm bored and I'll just start scrolling through it, because UWM has 4 different products for DSCR. So do most lenders. They have 4 different versions. If I quote them a rate and it doesn't qualify, well, I've stepped on my own, loan here. Okay. So they only allow certain property types, but they have really good rates. So you got to kind of know your go-to lenders. And from there, I built a DSCR lender list. So this is what you should do if you're like a first-time home buyer person and you're doing a lot of DPA. You need to know all the programs. And in here, I'll share this with you guys. I'll tell you how you can do that. I'm going to give you guys some potential stuff at the end. I just ask a favor from you guys, which I'll get into. But you can turn in any PDF into an Excel. You just go to Google, there's free tools out there. Just do PDF to Excel conversion. And the reason that I do that is guidelines are not really searchable in PDF format. But if I'm in an Excel, I can do Control F. I can do, it's going to be fine and all. And let's just say I want to know the rentalizer. So if you're familiar with AirDNA rentalizer, I want to know which lenders have it and what are their guidelines for it. So it's just going to find it. It's going to find it and then it's going to highlight it. Okay, so that way I can quickly go through and figure out which lenders allow it and what they're going to need. Or if they're a first-time investor, do they allow that? Okay, this just makes it easier. Now I know like this seems like a lot of work for you guys, and it can be seeming overwhelming to be able to put all this together, but I don't do all of this myself, right? So typically, I'll ask all the AEs. I actually created a little survey via Google, which you can do. You can just go to Google Forms, and I put all the questions in there that somebody might want to know about DSCR, and it just fills this out. Okay, so it just filled it out for me. So I emailed out to all the AEs that I know, and when they responded, these were their form responses. So I didn't even really have to create all this. I just asked all these questions. They did it for me. What's their minimum loan amount? What's their maximum loan amount? Okay, these AEs want our business, right? So let's put them to work for you. Let's have
That's a
them fill
great
out.
idea.
Yeah, so it makes it easy for me. If they have a pricer, I know where to be able to go. Obviously, we can go to Optimal Blue and other things. Then I had them send me their sheets, right? I didn't take the time to convert all of these PDFs. Okay, that's a waste of my time. But what I have done, and I hired this person years ago, and you can find them on Upwork or Fiverr. I found somebody in the Philippines for $7 an hour. She does my work for me. I go to a Loom video and I go to the Excel converter. I show her how to do it one time. I send her the video, and all the guidelines were uploaded into Google Drive. And then a day later, she had this done for me, and it probably cost me $20. And this is probably worth, I don't even know how much. Okay. So again, it's Fiverr, FIVERR.com or Upwork, and you can post jobs of what you want them to do. and then they'll give you a price and you can pay somebody. And after you work with somebody a few different times, typically if you like them, you can just start hiring them off of the platform, and obviously get work done at a very, very low cost. So this is how I came up with my own lender list to make it easy for me. And after a period of time, you really understand, what lenders to be able to go to. So I had never done a DSCR loan in my life. I pretty much was taking the low-hanging fruit for a while, which was the VA cash outs, the VA IRRRLs, and the FHA stuff. That's where it was, and leads were easy. And then everything came to a screeching halt, guys. That was for pretty much everyone. And I mostly know people that work off of leads and built their business off of leads. Now, you should still be working with realtors and other things, which we'll get into that. But very few of us survived the market because all they did was that type of lead, and they never tried to figure out, another way. And another reason that I like, working with investors, or if you guys do DPA or you do something else, is think about what some of the larger companies don't do that can beat our rates, or that can make, that people will shop to. So, the Quicken Loans of the world, the Rocket Mortgages, those types of people. If you want to be the guy that does luxury and does jumbo loans, do you have the pricing to be able to compete in that arena? Think about where your product is good, right? I don't know if you guys are working with direct lenders, or if you're a broker or whatever it is. You got to think about, where am I competitive? What do I know? What do I like? Okay. If you don't like investing and investors, then this time may not be for you. Okay. Investors can be great, but they can also send me deals all the time. Does this one work? Does that one work? Does this one work? And they're just putting in offers left and right, or asking me if they ratio, and they don't. Right. So I have two choices. I can keep working with them, or I can fire them as a client. Eventually, most of these people, if they're not that serious, they go away. But there's positives and negatives to every type of client. But what I will tell you is with the leads, because here's what I hear all the time with leads, is the lead quality is not good, or they're too expensive, or the other. So there's always the fine line, right? The less questions that you ask, the quality goes down, usually the cheaper the lead, right? The more questions you ask, the higher the quality of lead, but the more expensive. You go to the bank rates of the world, you're going to be paying $300 a lead. Okay. But it's coming with a whole list. It's basically a loan done for you. With
Yeah.
Facebook leads, you really just have to look at the long-term lead game, and turning this into refinances, repeat clients, referrals, and realtors. Okay. All those things can allow you to leverage the lead to be able to grow your business. So right now we're in a tough market. So I have tons and tons of leads in my database, tons of them, and a lot of pre-approvals and other types of product lines, right? So right now it's kind of a survival game for a lot of us during this period of time. And if you put all of your basket into leads, well, you might get a lot of people that are interested, and they're pre-approved and they're sitting on the sidelines. But can you keep up with the average time that it takes from when you get a lead to where they're actually out there, they're going to get under contract, buy that property, it funds, and you get paid, right? It's a long game. And that's what leads is a lot of times in all industries, would be potentially what they call a loss leader, which means that you're willing to potentially, spend a lot or lose money to gain the client to be able to get more business. So for example, I do sometimes very small loans for people in hopes that they come back to me with the rest of their portfolio or something like that. Well, same thing with this is, you guys might be scraping by as far as, how many deals you're bringing in compared to how many leads that you have, but that's because of the market that we're in. Okay. We have a high rate market. So a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines, but if you're able to maintain that, go out there, work with realtors, other referral partners, and the leads are just kind of building, eventually that'll be a windfall for you if you stay in contact with these people. And that's what the CRM is for, is that you guys need to be able to stay in contact with these people over a longer course of a period of time because people are waiting so much longer to be able to go out there and get into the homes that they want. So knowing how to use the CRM is extremely important. What I always say, and you probably heard it from other people because you guys should always be doing this. It's R&R, it's rip off and repeat. I hear it on podcasts. I see it in other places. When you hear it, you use it again if it's a good one. And with that, what you want to be able to do with the CRM is make sure that you're utilizing all of the tools that are in it. And so there's tons of training out there because the platform that we're built on, guys, it's called Go High Level. So there's tons of training on how to be able to send mass emails. We keep consistently provide training, or Alex does. If you guys haven't been in there, make sure that you guys are joining the calls that they have and the training that we're sending out, because we're showing you what actually loan officers are utilizing to be able to bring in more business. Okay, you can send out mass emails, you can send out drip campaigns and emails over a period of time, and all that can be done through this CRM. But the best CRM is the CRM that you guys use, right? If you're not using it, it doesn't really matter. Okay. I know a lot of people that know that they should be using a CRM. They've thought about it for years, but it's almost overwhelming for them to think about putting all their clients in and doing this. So what I would say is, and you probably hear a lot of people talk about time blocking, I would suggest that. And then there's two things. There's working on your business and there's working in your business. Okay, I have a couple loans that I'm working on right now. So I'm working in my business. I have to get those loans done. It eats up a lot of time, but it's time sensitive. It has to happen, right? And then there's a portion of time that I can work on my business. So that might be putting everybody that's in your cell phone into your CRM, going back to all of your past clients and making sure that they're in here, putting their birthdays in so that your birthday and all the other reminder texts go out, the loan funding date, all of these things. Don't look at it as like I have to do it all at once. Just be doing activities slowly but surely and get them into the CRM so that then you can market to these people again. Okay, and the leads in here that you're cultivating those people as well by utilizing all the tools that are in here. So you guys have a ton of different ways to be able to reach out to people. And one thing that I do know is a lot of times you call a couple times, they don't answer, and then you kind of give up on them, right? Because new leads have come in. Well, one of the things that I know we all hate are trigger leads, right? People, we all hate them because they call our clients and they do all of that. The only reason I bring trigger leads up is, you know what some of the best trigger leads are to be able to call? Because I know guys that do it. It's 90-day old, 120-day old trigger leads. You want to know why? Because the first person stopped calling them. They wanted to get pre-approved. They did. That person didn't stay in touch with them. They weren't emailing them. They had no follow-up. They weren't cultivating them over a period of time. None of those things. So then what happened is company buys the trigger lead. They call them up and they say, are you still potentially in the market? They're like, oh, well, I was, and then I didn't do it. And then that person gets them back out there and they get the business potentially. Okay, so the main thing is when you guys get people that are interested, that you're following up with them on a regular basis. Now, it may seem weird, obviously, because you just don't want to keep calling people. It makes it seem like you're just the annoying salesperson. We got to stop looking at ourselves, or maybe you have to where the person looks at you as a salesperson, or you feel like you are, or you feel like you don't know enough yet. So you kind of feel like a fraud calling these people over and over again. We are advisors. Okay. So you should be advising them, calling them up. Here's a market update. What happened today? Well, unfortunately, inflation went up today again. So if you have any borrowers out there, they just are going to hear it in the news. Rates are going up, all this stuff. We all know that's not really how it totally works, right? So we need to call them. We need to calm them down and say, hey, I don't know if you saw inflation went up today. Here's what's really going on with interest rates right now. Here's how they moved. Here's how they might move over the next couple of days. Teach them about it. Okay. One thing that I think that there's in a lot of industries, law, they have their own language. Real estate, we have our own language. And so we don't break it down for people sometimes. I see loan officers sending text messages out and they say, I just sent you the LE. That borrower has no idea that that means loan estimate. Okay. Or like, oh, these are discount points. Well, what does that mean? Okay. So make sure that you're really breaking it down for people. And I want to just show you guys some of the stuff, the deals that, I'm potentially working on, just so you can kind of see what you can get if you just consistently do leads and working with people. So I just got a new contract and you can see it's 425. This is a purchase. Okay. That just came in. This was just a general lead, but I'll just kind of tell you guys how after I talk to somebody, this guy's probably not that serious of an investor. He's a first time investor, but I'm still going to send the email out right away. Okay. My reviews are always right here. All right. That way, if they want to look me up, they're going to see that I have, I think, 40 reviews on Google for 5-star. I think I have 60 Zillow reviews, which isn't that many. It's 100, but my 100 is more than a lot of brokers that I go out there and look on Google or anywhere else. So when somebody says, oh, I'm shopping around, I'm doing what else, I'm like, oh, who else are you working with? Oh, I'm working with this person. Or, oh, send me their LE. I'll see if I can beat it. If I can beat it, I'll tell you. If I can't, I'll tell you to lock the loan with them. They send it over. I'll always look up who the lender is, who the loan officer is, and I won't badmouth them. But I'll just say, hey, yeah, I think I can potentially beat this. Here's my Google reviews. I don't know if you looked, but this other lender, they may be good, they may not be good, because I couldn't find any reviews online for them. Did you notice that? So I'm not really bad mouthing them. I'm just, seeing if they've done their due diligence as well. But one way for me to be able to remember what I talked about with somebody is also I put everything into my email. So 650, like right here. And then these notes go into the CRM so that I have them. So I know exactly what I talked to Hector about, because there's a lot of different loans that were going out, right? So just being detailed in what you're sending. I have some people, they just put, they're putting an offer in today on a property in Las Vegas. Okay, that's another DSCR loan. But here's where it kind of gets exciting with investors. This guy has 3 properties. They're all on bridge loans. He has to refinance them. Has to, guys. He has no choice. If he doesn't, I mean, he's going to have a balloon payment. Okay. So needs to refi 1.1 balance, needs to refi 1.2 balance, needs to refi 3.3 balance. That's 5.6 million in loans right here. Here's his rent rolls that he sent me. Okay. That's this guy right here. And then I have another guy, he owns around $50 million in real estate. Oh no, this is a different one. This is for a second mortgage. Let me find that one. This one right here. And so we might be doing a blanket loan on basically 27 of his people, but this is also how I break it down. So just so you guys know, I do not do loan estimates. I do not send them out. And if you are sending loan estimates out, one, you probably are wasting your time. They're utilizing them to shop you. And 2, they're going to go down to page 1 and they're going to look at the closing costs. They're not going to understand page 2 and they're going to go $15,000 in closing costs. Trevor's a liar and he never picks up the phone again. Okay. So I don't do that. If I am going to send a loan estimate to somebody, I just text them first and say, hey, I have the loan estimate for you to be able to review. When can I get on the phone with you? When they tell me, I say, great. I'll text them at that time and I'll say, hey, are you in front of the computer? Is this still a good time for you? Yes. I'll call them. I'll make sure they're in front of the computer. Then I send it. I'll have the email ready. I send it and then I open it with them and I say, hey, I'll run through this with you from top to bottom. Then I'll answer any questions that you have. And I'm going to show them top right-hand corner. You can see this rate is locked or it's not locked. I'm going to walk them down. I'm going to say, now look, I know you want to look at that closing cost. We're going to get down to that. And we're going to break that down. And you need to explain each and every piece or else they're not going to understand. Okay, we're in the business, right? So we know what all these fees are. But a lot of these people, we can't assume that they understand it. How many people don't understand that they have to pay for the homeowner's insurance up front? Okay, all 12 months. They don't understand that. Plus, They usually, if they have an escrow account, want another couple of months, right? So they're like, what are all of these fees? All right. I had the guy the other day complaining about fees, and I said, well, 6,000 of them are your escrow account. You want me to take that out? Okay, take it out, send it back to them. Okay, so that's another thing, is just making sure that you do that. And then once I send out an email with, like, let's say these numbers right here, immediately I text message them and say, hey, I just sent you an email with the information that we talked about. It came from, and I'll put my email in there just in case it might go to junk. And then I'll say, save my number. And then what I do is I go into my cell phone, I have my own number saved, and I have it saved under, and you guys should all do this. See if it comes up. If you guys can see this, it says Trevor Gravink, mortgage broker. And I tell them, you may forget Trevor Gravink, but all you have to do is type in mortgage. I will always pop up. Okay. So whether they remember your name or not, 2 years from now, whatever it is, I mean, you should hopefully staying in touch with your clients, but let's just say that you haven't, you know, randomly they're going to remember, oh yeah, I remember that. Or maybe they're scrolling through their phone one day and they just see mortgage. They're like, oh yeah, that's my mortgage guy, easy for them to be able to share as well. Okay, so one thing I'm doing this year, because I've decided to go literally all in on DSCR, is to try to get, more traction besides just on leads. Again, I'm going to leverage my leads. Okay, and I'm going to leverage them to be able to build my YouTube channel. And how I can do that is because I'm paying for leads, right? You guys are paying. I don't know how much your leads are. I do both Facebook and Google. Facebook, I take them to a long form. Mine are like 15 to 17, just depending. Google can be, 30 to 40, depending. Why don't I try to, not only get loans out of them, obviously, but if I send them emails and text messages with videos, well, then I'm going to get free eyes on my YouTube channel. Okay. And if they view that, YouTube is connected to Google. And if I put those on my website in my blog area, potentially one day I could rank for DSCR, either through YouTube or on Google. So this is what my plan is for the future of leveraging my leads, is spending a lot of time, answering all these questions. Now, did I come up with these questions? Again, no, I did not. I did all my research of what people are searching for, and then I'm just going to answer those direct questions, and I'm going to make the videos exactly what people want to know. So when somebody types it in, Google goes, oh, well, this one's pros and cons of DSCR loans. Let's hopefully show this one. Okay. So what I'm going to show you guys is the one main thing that people search for a lot is DSCR calculator. A lot of people want that. Okay. So I decided, well, I might as well give them what they want. So I've created this DSCR calculator. And if any of you guys want this, I'm going to give this to you guys if you do me a favor, which we'll get into in a second. But in this DSCR calculator, just tells them what the ratio would be. But down here, has my information on it. They can schedule with me on my calendar. Okay. And then it explains to them how to be able to figure out the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, etc. Now you would need to create these videos because these are me, so you wouldn't want that. You could edit that, but you could also edit this. But what I'm going to be able to provide you guys is this DSCR calculator, and then I'll give you also the PowerPoints that I've created for these. You would just need to edit them. Okay, but I have each one, and then my YouTube video for each one of these. I don't have scripts because I just talk over them. Okay, but I'll give this to you guys if you do me a favor. All right, and that is that you guys subscribe to my channel, you like the videos, and you view them. I'll be able to see who did, and then I'll send this out to you. I'll email you a link to the DSCR calculator and to the Canva PowerPoints. And these are things that you could go over with the investors yourself. You can, redo them, whatever it is that you want to utilize it for, even if it's just something to be able to kind of see, oh, how could I do this with first-time home buyers? How could I do this with veterans, homes for heroes? It doesn't matter what it is. What I suggest is just thinking long-term. Is this a job or a career for you? If it's a career, then, make sure that you're putting things here that you can do that you don't have to do more than once, right? So meaning that like people may be watching my YouTube videos, but I'm not doing any extra work now. But I'm out there now being able to educate people, make them more aware of what's going on. So if they're potentially filled out my Facebook form or my Google form, I may not talk to them personally, but they've gotten to know me over a 3-week period because I'm sending them emails that are detailed or now with video. Okay. So just think about that. Not video is not for everyone. Completely fine. These are all PowerPoints. So you're just kind of talking behind them, and you could obviously do forward facing video as well. But what I will say is figure out what things that you like. Don't do TikTok if you're not good in front of a camera, or you don't plan on posting 7 times a day, because that's what that platform is for. Don't do, um, you know, going to mixers if you're not actually going to go up to people, talk to them, introduce yourself. Let's not fake what we think that is going to be good. All of these things work, but only if you work them and if you're doing things that you're good at, right? I know for a fact I'm not good at mixers. Like this, that's just not my thing. What I'm good at is setting up systems, being able to uh, create where I can videos and other marketing pieces and leads and all those things. But it's taken a lot of time and over the years. But one way that you guys can shrink the amount of learning curve is find 10 to 15 podcasts about real estate investing. What are the top podcasts telling real estate investors to do? Learn what that is so you can speak that language, right? If it's the Homes for Heroes stuff, what is it? And you're in the Colorado market and over here, like, what are they listening to? What is the news? I don't really like, I don't watch very much of the news, but I have to know what people are seeing and hearing so that I can just go in there and talk about it right up front. Right. Obviously they talk about rates falling one day and then people text me, "Hey, Trevor, did my rate get better? By how much?" And it's like, no, it didn't really change that much. um, or hey, rates went up, uh, you know, or hey, I went online and I found this rate here. So then I'll be like, okay, and I'll go to that website and I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom and I'll find the language at the bottom and I'll highlight all the discount points and I'll be like, you see, it's not really this much rate. So taking screenshots and doing all of those things, that's what you need to do with leads because they don't really know you, right? So I have to earn their trust. You have to earn their trust. Just because they filled out a form doesn't mean that they're ready to work with you at all. And I know that a lot of them be like, "Oh, I was just filling it out because of whatever. I don't know. I was bored at work." Just so you guys understand how Facebook works, is you can sign up for it. But when they did the update, all of us had to put in our new phones and update it. So these cell numbers are real because their Facebook has our information. So they are filling this stuff out. But depending on, how many forms they fill out or potentially how you're talking to them, they just might not want to talk right then. Okay, I understand. Perhaps, you're not currently ready to be able to purchase today. That's completely fine. I'm not just, looking to be able to do a loan. I advise people and I can answer any questions whether you're ready to buy today or 3 years from now. So if you want to set up a consultation with me, great. If not, you'll probably just see some emails coming from me, kind of just, so you understand like how to put yourself in the best position to buy a home whenever you're ready. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. And then you can always come back to that person. But making sure that you're in the right mindset when you talk to these people. I've worked in a lot of call center situations, had a lot of different jobs, and a lot of the people let the last call affect their next call, good or bad. If people are having a good day, they'd have like the best day. They'd select 4 people in a row. Then the other people, they get a couple bad calls, and there's no way they were getting out of that slump, right? And that's because they were literally letting it affect the next call. They're assuming that everybody's broke because the last 5 people were broke, or that the last person's credit sucks, so this person's credit's going to suck. I guarantee there's some people on here, you've judged leads by their name, by their email, guaranteed. And so, try to avoid those things and go into every call with the same script and framework every single time. And then obviously listen to them, answer their questions, and then funnel them back down where you want them to go, and go through step by step all the different holes that, potentially another lender may not have told them, and coach them. If you think that they're going to shop you, if they're going to shop me, they're going to shop me. So I'll tell them, hey, if you're going to go out there and you potentially, I know you might be talking to other lenders, here's what you need to ask them. How much is going to be in section A of the loan estimate under origination? Okay, make sure that you ask them that, but ask them in a couple different ways. Ask them how much their underwriting is, their processing, origination fees. Are there any other fees in section A that I should know about? Because that's where we all vary, right? That's where we all make our money, or the lenders, make their money, is in section A of the loan estimate. So I'm going to tell them, make sure that you ask them that. Make sure that you ask them where the discount points are. Ask them when they can lock the loan. One sneaky thing that some people do, especially when it's a refi market, is they tell the people, hey, we can't lock your loan, or let's float your loan and we'll lock it after we get the appraisal back. We're getting close, especially on like a cash out loan where people haven't made their credit card payments and they haven't made the mortgage payment. They're waiting for the windfall of equity to go into their bank account. And then the person comes back and was like, okay, it's today's the day to lock your loan. Oh, actually in the days that rates were good, actually 3.5% is a $5,000 discount point. Because they didn't lock it, they didn't have to disclose it. Now the lender makes more money. The person doesn't want to walk away because they don't want to start the process over again. So if I tell them, hey, make sure you ask them when you can lock the rate, and then I'll follow up with that person. Hey, have you locked your rate? Did they give you a loan estimate? Did they do this? Because we all have a certain amount of time that these things should happen, right? I think I harassed this one guy for 2.5 weeks, just kept asking him, hey, did they send you a loan estimate yet? Hey, did they give you this? Hey, finally, he's like, no, actually, the guy never came through with it. I'm ready to talk to you. Let's talk. I was like, okay. Because if you think that somebody's rate is too good to be true, most likely it is. None of us are like that much better than the other, right? We're all slightly better. You know where your rates kind of stand, if you're higher than others or lower than others. So just every single step of the way, making sure that you're strategically doing this. So that means if you're new to leads, it's totally different than dealing with referrals, friends, family, and other people. So as people are asking you questions, if you don't know the answer, it's completely fine. I didn't know half the answers to the DSCR loans, so I just came up with a way to deflect. All I did was say, okay, I have all your questions. Here they are. Plus, I have your scenario. Now, I work with a ton of different DSCR lenders. Each one of them have their own guidelines and rules. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send off your scenario. And then what I'll probably have to do is come back to you maybe with some questions that certain lenders have to be able to make sure that we get you into the right loan product. And then I'll come back and make sure that I answer all of your questions as well. Does that sound fair? Now, I always ask, does that sound fair? Because nobody's going to tell me that that's not fair, right? Pretty much, I always just say, does that sound fair? And they always just say yes. Okay. Then that gives me the time to be able to go to all these lenders, or to go to other people that do DSCR loans, or to go to Google and find all of the answers. And then I notate them, and I know next time I have that answer in my back pocket. And by the time I talk to 50 people, there's pretty much nothing I didn't know at that point. But that's because I thought about strategically, like finding the answer, putting it in, remembering it, putting it into an Excel sheet, having my kept adding questions. So like, for example, I not only have a script, but I have DSCR questions that I know that I should be asking. Let's see here. I'll find it as I'm talking here, but just questions that I kept writing down and then answering. And then I'd go to other people that do DSCR loans and say, hey, how do you answer this? Or else I'd go to, like I said, I'll go to TikTok and watch somebody else's video and figure out how that they're responding to it. And I won't say for sure to go do this, but I was in the solar business too. Um, and it's hard to know how somebody's selling somebody in a house, right? So what did I do? Well, I filled out about 7 different forms online. I had 7 different sales guys, people coming to my house. I had 7 different people pitch me. It was uncomfortable because they were good salespeople. So they all wanted to know why I wasn't buying their solar. Um, I've done the same thing with other leads. You know, I go through people's funnels. Do they have follow-up? Do they not have follow-up? If they do, what are their emails? Are they good? Okay, look, I'll take those. And it doesn't have to just be about leads. I mean, I'll just pull up my Gmail. I pretty much save anything that I think is good marketing material, headlines or anything else. You know, I'll be like, oh, that's a great headline. I would probably open that. I think I have, you know, all these different like marketing things that people have, lead company, Mike Long, mortgage training, online offers. Look, I just keep a folder. I'll read through them, you know, Trevor, sorry I'm late to your video. Like I wasn't late to anything. This is just his headline. I'm like, oh, okay, I like that. Maybe I'll use it to get somebody to open my stuff up. My eyes are always open to people, to things. Okay, like I said, I was in a lot of different sales and call center. Some of the best people that I ever learned from was the people that came out of training because they just come out and said something new that I'd never heard before, and I'd pull them to the side and I'd say, hey, I loved how you said that over there. Can you tell me how you said that again? Okay, and then they would say it, and you know, we would keep that and we'd share it with somebody else. So it's really just about, you know, if you care enough to get better each and every day. I think I've taught a lot of different classes, but I also have paid a lot of money to be in a part of a lot of different groups, mastermind groups and coaching and other things. But one of the things a lot of people ask is like, well, how do you have the time to do all of these things or do all the, and it's like, well, one, I go to bed early and wake up early. But 2, like I'm listening to it on podcasts or in my car. So if I'm walking my dog, can I listen to a real estate podcast today to figure out what's going on? Sure. Could I listen to something else that's more interesting to me, like sports or something else that you like? You could, but you know, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn more about that.
And here's
Okay.
something, if I may interject, Trevor. Once you get good at it, you'll enjoy it. For
Yeah.
me, I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube videos online, all educational videos, and I watch it because I enjoy it because I feel like it makes me better at business and I like business and I'm good at it and therefore I like watching things about it. So if you don't like it right now, it's probably because you might be in a place where you're like, oh man, that uphill climb kind of looks steep. But eventually you get to a point where it's just you're running downhill and it's much easier to consume that information than listen, my wife, when she gets home, she's gonna, as sure as shit, turn on Real Housewives of Panama or Miami, or I don't, there's too many cities to count. When she does that, I go in here, I go on YouTube and I just watch YouTube videos. So are you using your time wisely? And I think that's some good stuff, Trevor.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, we're coming up on 45 minutes. So I think we'll kind of maybe open it up to some of the questions that, you know,
Yeah.
weren't answered. But yeah, I mean, that's really what it comes down to is, um, you know, it's like he said, it's not that much fun at the beginning. It's like when you first start working out, God, it sucks. Now,
Right.
if I don't work out, guys, I don't feel good. Like I don't feel like I feel like my day hasn't started yet. Okay.
Hmm.
So I go do that first because it feels good. And then when I start doing, you know, listening to the podcast and I learn something and then I say it and it works, it's like, oh, this is really paying off. But everything doesn't pay off quickly. We're in a microwave society, so a lot of things it's like now, now, now. And if you go to TikTok, you guys are going to get tons of offers. If you start clicking on ads, I just get DSCR stuff from Instagram all day long, right? So you have to be, you know, conscious of what you're intaking as far as all this stuff, and you're not signing up for 20 different programs. But also at the same time, you can learn a lot from from just going out there and doing that, and just kind of, if it's 6 months of you having to just learn everything that you need to know about DPA or DSCR or whatever it is 6 months really that long compared to if this is your career? No,
Yeah.
it's such a minuscule amount of time.
Mhm.
Um, so just think about it kind of that way. It's baby steps. I know you guys all need to make money now. You want loans, you want to fund loans now. But just make sure that you're putting in the groundwork for a long lasting lead campaign, and leveraging that into other things. But I know there was a lot of things in the chat. I know you were kind of answering them as we went along, Alex,
Yeah, I
but
want to get into a couple of things. Number one, I know you guys when Trevor was showing his reviews on his email, a lot of you, because I've heard this before, are like, well, I don't have any reviews. Not for long. Okay, guys, we are actually Brandon and I are going to be unveiling a new functionality of the CRM that will allow you to get reviews from your past clients or anybody who you talk to. The pilot first goes to people who are in Trevor's masterclass. So if you are prior in Trevor's masterclass or you're a current student, you guys are going to be kind of our guinea pigs of who we test that out with. We typically want to test out any new functions or features moving forward. That's going to be our policy. Like anytime we want to roll something out to everybody, people in the masterclass are going to get it first because at least we know that they're advanced. They're going to give us feedback, and they're usually the best amongst people, right? So if you are a prior student of the masterclass or in current, you guys are going to get all of those new features first because we need you to test it. And if it's going to fail with somebody, I'd rather it fail with a small concentration of people who actually know what they're doing as opposed to just unveiling it to. We all saw what happened with Lead Hackers 2.0. We had some glitches, right? Hopefully those are cleaned up now. But again, so I think moving forward, all the new features are they're gonna be filtered through the masterclass that Trevor does. And this next masterclass that he's doing is going to be focused on DSCR. So all this stuff you're seeing, Trevor is going to personally walk those students through it. I know we put out an alert about that. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that right now. This is uh, thank you, Christiana. I'm glad you're getting good value from it. I know Trevor puts a lot into it. We appreciate all the work that he does. Obviously, guys, we're giving you some free stuff today. Trevor's going to give you, thank you, Scott. Yeah, totally. Guys, we try and really we want to make things as affordable for you as possible. So we try and give you whenever we unroll a feature, other companies are like, "Hey man, we're unrolling a feature, let's increase the price." Like guys, I don't know if you know this, we just increased the price to the public. Now Lead Hackers is $300 a month. We never once were like, "Hey, let's tell everybody, 6 months from now we're going to charge $300 a month." No, you guys are our legacy. You guys are stuck in that $250 a month cost. So anybody moving forward, obviously, but typically when you're enrolling new features out there, people want to charge for that. That's not what we want to do. We want to stack value as much as possible. So two things that we have coming out. One, Google reviews, and then the other one is social media planner, where you guys will be able to plan out your social media posts for the next 12 months. So anyways, guys, we're going to jump into a Q&A with Trevor. He's going to be able to answer any questions that you guys have. We can kind of do this like the coaching calls, guys, right? So if you guys go like this, your hand will be raised and we'll give you the floor. You could ask Trevor whatever questions that you would like. So we got a few people here. We got Brian, Jason, Vespin, Jim, and Mario. We're going to start out with Jim. What's up, Jim? Let's unmute you.
I'm there. Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Jim, how are you, man?
this is all good. A couple of things. Trevor, this is just a question. When I've looked at all these different guidelines and even pricing for the probably 15 different non-QM lenders that I have relationships with, they all seem to be about the same. Have you discovered the cherry in the pile there, the one that seems to be able to do everything and always is good priced?
So yeah, there's always that caveat, right? They do everything on good pricing. They don't really mix, because usually the best pricing goes to the people with the highest credit, so then their risk bucket is lower, right? Like UWM's DSCR pricing right now is probably pricing out the best that I can possibly see, but they're the strictest when it comes to credit and if it ratios or if they're a first time investor and those things. That's why I usually try to pick like 5 lenders, which ones do offer to lower credit people but are still pretty good, that price okay, and try to work with those ones. I mean, off the top of my head, the main lenders that I work with on DSCR would be like Forward Lending, UWM, IceCap,
Did you say
Veris.
ice like ice water?
Yeah,
Uh,
IceCap, Veris, are probably some of the main go-to people. And I'm sure a lot of other people have their feelings about different
Mhm.
lenders, or maybe had a bad experience with one of these lenders. We don't need to hear it in the chat. If you do have a great lender, share it in the chat. But let's, if you don't like any of the lenders, we've all had our experiences with different people. But that's, there is no magic lender, but you can narrow it down to, a group that kind of fulfills everything that you need. Some are good with, 4-unit properties. Some are good with allowing for first-time investors on short-term rentals, and others don't allow first-time investors with short-term rentals. So unfortunately, it's kind of, that's the thing of this business. The good thing about that though, Jim, is, and for everybody on here, because there is no magic one, it makes me more powerful because the people need me more. That investor can't just go to one of these lenders, a direct lender, and get all of their loans from that direct lender. Okay, they go to that lender one time, they get the deal. The next time they go to that lender doesn't do loans under 150,000. They're going to Google, or they see an ad on Facebook. They come to me, and now I earn all of their future business because I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can pretty much do anything because I work with 100 different DSCR lenders,
Yeah.
right?
I have one more question for you, and this is, uh, you went through some very powerful work that you did in terms of the guidelines, the matrices, and but you went through it a little too quick for a guy like me, um, as is often the case on these training calls. Is this going to be recorded in a way where I can
Yes.
pick up on what you said, and so I can see the survey forms? Is there any possibility that those two things could be shared?
Yeah, so on the DSCR calculator and on my DSCR lender list, the very first page says start here. And
Uh-huh.
then it says walk through video, and it'll be a loom on how to be able to search and basically use the calculator. So I do that for the simplicity of anybody that, works with me, or anybody that's like an investor that needs that calculator. I want them to know how to use it. So yes, there'll be a short 2-minute video, and then within every page is a video.
Got it. Okay, thanks very much. Those were some great tips, particularly yeah, using people offshore now is turning out to be quite a deal. I'm just having my website redone in India.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm done. Thanks.
All right. Next up, thanks, Jim. Next up, we got Vespin.
Hey Alex, hey Trevor, how are you guys?
Good.
Very good.
Good.
Good to talk to you, Vespin.
Yeah, you too, man. So Trevor, I do have a quick question. So I'm running DSCR ads on lead hackers, and my question from you, like we have a few right now, and I go short forms because it's gonna cost less, and also I already need to go over those questions that they are going to answer online. Anyway, because I just want to have like a conversation with them to confirm all that information. I don't know what you think about it, but recently I get like all like non-investors, like I get like all first-time buyers out of that DSCR campaign. So I just want to know like which ad you run exactly and in which states. Because I've heard like California, Florida are really good. So I just want to have your opinion on that.
Yeah, so the DSCR ads that are in the higher intent folder are the ones that I particularly run. Those ones just have one additional question, and that is, are they a first-time investor or not? And the only reason I have that in there is just so I know what type of conversation I'm probably walking into. And I can also potentially, if I call somebody that says that they're a first-time investor and they don't answer the first 2 times, I'll pass that to somebody else on my team. And the ones that say that they are experienced investors, I'm going to take a little bit more time and effort to keep calling those people. As far as what states to be able to market in, um, you know, yes, California is always a good state. There's a lot of money here. And I know people will be like, well, it's too expensive in California. Well, for this particular product, it's investors. So just because where they live isn't where they're buying their investment properties. So I deal with a lot of people that live in California, but they're buying properties in other areas of the country. So you can kind of think about, obviously you need to be licensed to be able to talk to certain people, but that's the other nice thing about DSCR loans is not every state requires you to have a license. Now you need to talk to your company because some lenders require you to be licensed. So make sure that you understand how that works with your company. But as a broker, a lot of these lenders will allow you to close loans in other states that you're not licensed because it's a business purpose loan. So as far as like good states, I don't want everybody just potentially marketing in the same area. I would say I've pretty much gotten deals in any states that I've marketed in. I stay away from states that have like really low populations. That's all I'll really say as far as that goes. I don't want 25 people going and starting to post up ads in the same states.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, next up, we got Jason Allen.
Hey, thanks for your time, Trevor.
Yeah, of course.
Did you say that you use the CRM with lead hackers for all your clients, even the ones that don't come in through the lead hacker social media ads?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. I thought that's what you said, and I was like, because I was thinking that's what I wanted to do too, because it's nice to be able to, make notes and all that other stuff and kind of have tasks and calendar reminders. I love the text messages. Okay, so that was number one. The other one is because I'm going to totally sound like a boomer. Is there a way to search on Instagram the way that you search on TikTok for trending videos regarding a specific subject like DSCR?
Yeah, so if you're in Instagram at the bottom, there's the little magnifying glass. You would just pull up that magnifying glass. There's a search bar at the top, and you would just type in whatever you want into that search bar, and you'll get all the content that you want typing in DSCR loan or any other loan product.
All right. I would just, this is probably doesn't mean anything, but I was just thinking the US government put a ban on TikTok that's supposed to kick in 9 months or something like that. And I was like, oh crap. I wonder if I can do the same thing on Instagram once TikTok goes away.
Yep, you guys can do Instagram. You guys can just Google it and see who's at the top. If they're at the top, that probably means that they're answering the most amount of questions that people are searching for. A Google search. So you can just go, like Visio Lending has a very good in-depth website on DSCR, tons of different things that they answer in blogs and such. If you're doing more conventional style loans, guess who's spending all sorts of money to know what to be able to put out there for people and put out content all the time? Rocket Mortgage, Loan Depots of the world. Go to Rocket, sign up as your first-time investor, get all of their emails. What are they sending out to a borrower day one? What are they sending out to a borrower day two, day three? Guaranteed they've spent millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars figuring out what the best emails are. All you have to do is rewrite them in your language. Okay, make it sound like your voice, and now you have your whole entire follow-up campaign. Rocket Mortgage sends it to me today. I put it in my system tomorrow, and you could just literally do that. Don't steal from them. Rewrite it, make it your own voice, but it's going to tell you what you should be talking about, the talking points. That's the point of it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate everything.
Awesome. Next up, we have Mario. You there, Mario?
Yeah, I forgot to unmute myself.
All good.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey, Trevor, first of all, thank you for having this call. I mean, I had a couple of questions, and it kind of seems like you already answered because a few other people asked. But so I've been doing this about 25 years now. I was running the DSCR ad. I started having some luck with it, and then it just fell flat on my face with it. Is when you run these things, I mean, I heard you tell Vespin that you're using the higher intent, so maybe I'll go that route. But do you change any edit the ads at all, or you just use them the way they have them in Lead Hackers?
So just so you guys know, and maybe there's, I think there might be a training in it, and I definitely get into this a little bit more when I have more dedicated time to do it. But even with the ad manager tool, when you get to the optional section, you can put up other pictures in there. So if you want to do another picture, you potentially can do that within there so that it rotates it. So Facebook, Google, all these places have their AI tools. It's rotating the pictures, it's showing it, and then it's going to choose the winner and keep displaying that one. If you're in one market and you run the same ad forever and ever, there is a chance that eventually you're burning out that potential market depending on how large it is. So that's why you see the ad, like the folders that, Alex has, new ads are being put in there. And so we're also seeing like what's working and adding things to it and seeing what else is out there. We have tools to see what other people are running and for how long. Usually if it's out there for a while, either that person is burning a lot of money or that ad is working. So, going off of that. So yeah, I mean, you can, I know enough with Facebook to be able to go in there and kind of make more changes, but you can make image changes as well.
Yeah, no, I know how to do the changes. I'm just wondering, when you run these ads, do you make any changes on them, or you just use them as is in Lead Hackers?
So I'm using them as is, unless just like I said, some of the pictures are different things, but pretty much just as is, just launching them.
Okay, and I know, last question, I know you already addressed the state thing. I'm in New York. I live like 5 miles outside of Manhattan. You can't do a DSCR around here. It's like an insanity. Yeah, you can get a 6-family home and it won't debt service coverage. So what what would you say is like the best state that you've done ads in that you like the best? Because I can't do it in New York. The homes are too expensive.
Yeah, so I would probably stay in an area that you kind of know, maybe some areas that you want to potentially build a realtor network with. So always thinking long term with this, but you're near Pennsylvania. I do quite a few multifamily homes there. They're 200, 300,000 and they cash flow all day long. Ohio, they cash flow all day long. So right now that's kind of where the money is. Florida, usually the short-term rentals will cash flow. So some of those areas are pretty good ones. Like you said, you don't want to be in areas, and you can quickly do it, guys. Go on to Zillow right now. Go find some properties that you think might be investments. Run 5 of them. If they don't ratio out based on credit score, well, then that's not the right market for you, right? You want to go somewhere else. I can only kind of speak where I'm getting deals, and that's just where obviously properties are cheaper. So that's more on the mid to East Coast, in the cheaper states.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Pennsylvania. I was thinking of running Pennsylvania and Jersey, so I think I'll give that a shot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, next up, we have Christopher White.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So, great content. I've got a lot of feedback. I mean, got a lot of notes on what you said. Are you familiar with pad split at all? The model?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you familiar with the model pad split?
Are you talking where they do the rooms? They rent each room out? I've never heard that
Yes.
term before. Yeah, so no lender will take it.
So I've been running some ads, and I've got based off of the Lead Hackers platform, and I've got a couple of people that reached out to me about it. I was trying to find a way to how do I put it?
Only way to do it is to get one lease, one lease agreement so they can use all the income. They will not use what they call border income, meaning 4 different leases for one single family home, each room rented to each individual person. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it's a central company that does it. It's not like 6 different people with 6 different leases. So the reason I'm asking is because I've gotten 3 people in the last month that have asked me about that. So it seems to be like a dry market because they're having problems finding lenders for that. So I was trying to see if you heard of it and if you edited your ads to, but if you haven't heard of it.
Oh, well, I mean, it's border income and it's called house hacking, and it's a great way to be able to turn your rental into a cash cow by individually like doing rooms, especially in a college town. But lenders won't honor every single lease. They will, on a
Right.
single family home, they'll only take one lease. So, what I've had to do is, ask them to get one lease. I don't ask questions. They get me one lease. Potentially, maybe they don't, but they can sometimes do. And then at that point, I can get it to work. But unfortunately, unless there's a private lender out there, I haven't found any DSCR lenders that will allow border income.
Oh, okay. All right. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the info.
Uh-huh.
Okay, next up, we have Malcolm.
Hey there.
What's up?
So I've been running like sort of the general campaign leads. I'm relatively new. But I am intrigued by the DSCR because it is a product that I offer. So if I'm starting that like brand new today, how should I start that?
If you're talking about trying to learn how to be able to do DSCR loans, then you probably are getting emails every day from AEs. I would look at those each day. Most of the lenders have recorded webinars, past webinars or future webinars that they teach on these products.
Yeah, not actually the product itself. I'm pretty familiar with it, but just
Okay.
how to get the leads, I guess.
So yeah, you would just launch the ad just like you did your general campaign. And it'll just run the same way and just choose the areas that you want to market in. And you can also look at, depending on, who you work for, if you're allowed to market in areas that don't require a license, because then you can market in more states than just, what you're tied to license wise.
Right. And is there any kind of is there a folder somewhere with like like training or
In
whatever
about 10
for
minutes.
doing that type of stuff? Did I miss that somewhere?
So the training for like the actual DSCR training that I had shown in the folder, like I said, I'll give you guys the DSCR calculator and the list that I have. Some of that other stuff is just all my different folders of training that I have from over the years. So it's not something that's inside of Lead Hackers itself. But then there's other training in the back end of Lead Hackers as far as like the actual how to use the CRM and following up and other things. If you're looking for like more extensive training, that's what I'll be doing in the next masterclass. And I think Alex will potentially get into that on another call or an email follow-up or something like that, and kind of detail out what that might look like.
All right. Yeah, I guess I don't know where in Lead Hackers to look for what's there. I suppose is
You
it
go to
in
the knowledge. Do you have the knowledge library, Malcolm?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, but I've never been able to really, I don't know if I'm missing something, but to see where to find that stuff.
It's not in the knowledge library.
Oh, it's not.
Trevor's DSCR trainings are in his master class.
Got it. Okay. Okay. All right, thank you.
Awesome. All right, next up we got Brian.
Hey, thank you. So Trevor, there's 2 different Facebook ads inside of Lead Hackers for DSCR. One is a minimum loan size of 75,000. The other is a minimum loan size of 200,000. Which do you use, or what minimum loan amount do you use?
I believe one is for a specific company like Nexa. Isn't that correct, Alex? That's why there's 2 in there.
Right.
Yeah. So, so I have a minimum loan amount of 75,000. So I could run that one. I more particularly run the one that's in the higher intent. So that's specifically the one that I've been running, or something very similar to that. If you guys go to the higher intent, it's just literally an image of a house. And then it usually just says no tax returns needed, qualify with rental income. And there's like 1/3 bullet point, and that's it. And that's just basically different pictures and colors. And it's just basically the same thing over and over again.
Where do I find the higher intent?
Well,
The higher intent folder,
Yeah,
it's in the same place that all the other folders are. When you go to launch your ad, you're
Yeah.
gonna see short form. You're gonna see. Are you showing them, Trevor? Okay, I was gonna pull it up, but yeah, if you go to launch new campaign right here,
yeah.
Facebook, you're gonna go to that one, lead form higher intent.
Okay.
Yeah, get pre-approved in 24. This is literally my ad that I shared with Alex. This is what I ran and been running for a long time.
Okay, thank you. A last question is, you know how Google has us buttonholed into a certain age category because we're lenders?
Mm-hmm.
Do you just go with that, or is there a hack to get around that?
Yeah, there's no hack, unfortunately. We just have to, over time, we're getting the clients that come to us. And so Facebook or Google or the others will learn based on conversions who we should be going after. That's really
Okay.
the only thing with that. Yeah.
Okay. Last thing is, my pixel's not completely trained. Is it too early to switch to DSCR?
You
How
can
many
switch.
leads do you have?
Something's going on. I've only got 7 leads, but I've spent over $700. So I don't. I was
You
going
gotta
to
be
talk to
kidding
you
me.
about that tomorrow.
So
How did
real quick, I'll pause this, guys. So you guys all know that your reporting tab is here. Just so you guys know, I can see and Alex can see it too. Ads come in anywhere between $10 to $15 all day long across most campaigns. If you're going up and above that, guys, you should be going to these live Q&A calls. Literally, Alex pays people and he's on these calls as well to be able to ask what's going on with those. We have so many of you guys, and Alex has so many of you guys, that it's impossible for him to know what's happening with all of your guys' leads. But if it seems out of the ordinary, please let him know so that we can try to figure out what might be happening with that.
What
Yeah,
the
I
hell?
mean-
Yeah, Brian, I'm looking back here, man. Let me see. Okay, so it could be because one of these, it looks like you didn't map your field. So I'm hoping that's why. But guys, this is a good learning opportunity here. Like you gotta watch your ads. If you're not getting leads for a few days, you got to check your reporting and see what the cost per lead is. I hate, Brian, that you potentially blew through that money without getting a lead.
So I had my ad shut off and I'm still getting billed like, $100 every day.
Your ad isn't shut off. It looks on to me.
Which ad are you looking at?
Oh no, this one's shut off. Campaign paused. Yeah. Brian, come on the coaching call tomorrow morning. I'm gonna have to take a deep dive into that.
What are you talking about? Listen, I don't have a point.
Does it sound good?
Yes, I appreciate it.
What are you talking
And
Yeah,
thank you, Trevor. I
definitely-
won't take up any more of your time.
No worries.
No want
I want to
worries.
take a deep dive into that tomorrow.
Yeah,
you.
so that's another thing, guys, that I kind of, learned over the years is you guys should be knowing a couple different things, which is cost per lead, cost per credit pull, cost per loan app, cost per funded loan. Okay, that way you can work backwards and say, number one, where should I be spending my money? Because if you're running multiple different campaigns, which I have at certain times, now I've narrowed it down to DSCR, but I've ran multiple campaigns. Where should I be putting my marketing dollars? It might look like that I should keep putting my marketing dollars over here because my cost per lead is $5, right? But my cost per application, I'm not turning into anything because the loan sizes are too small. I'm not competitive. So my cost per application is $2,000. And in California, my cost per lead is $40. But when I fund a loan, it's 12 grand. It's not 3 grand. Okay. So it's not only watching these leads the cost per lead, but it's tracking it all the way through till the end. And that's when we're talking about working on your business and working in your business. Working in your business is your loans, right? Working on your business is making sure that you're tracking all of these numbers for yourself. And if you're getting better time after time. And one last thing I just wanted to notate is if you guys haven't noticed, they created an awesome funnel for you guys that was added. This is a funnel, the same thing that I used off of Facebook to generate leads, guys. So when your pixel gets good enough, if you want to run DSCR to your landing page, you guys have this now. And this just asks them a few questions. It will cost more per lead. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to run this or not, but this is the same form. We spent a lot of time making sure that it's in here and right and compliant. No matter where they click, it just takes them back to the form. It's one page. Okay, so this is the type of stuff that works for marketing and marketers, and this is in your guys' back end. And was just put in there as like Alex said, he does an upgrade, he gives it to the group.
All right. Awesome. Next up, we got Frederick.
How you doing, good fellas?
Hey, Frederick.
Hey, quick question for you, Trevor. You mentioned about the Google ads, and I just noticed that too when I was playing around inside the platform here. When is that going to go live where we can advertise on Google as well?
It was a test that I had to do. It's going to not be in the back end anymore, but if I have to launch a test, UpHex makes it just live for everyone. So when you guys see the Google symbol, just avoid it for right now. I was doing a test to try to see if we can get these to work. We're doing our best, guys, but the last thing that we want to do is launch something that isn't tested and proven and tried and true. And the UpHex platform runs a very specific performance max campaign, which is perhaps not the best way for like a mortgage lead. It would work great for a service type business or other type businesses. With this type business, it may not. So we're taking time and trying to do it in a sensible way to make sure that we don't have you guys irritated because it burns your guys' ad money up. But we are diligently trying to figure that out, and potentially might have that in the future.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, next up we got Jeff.
All right, I have a quick question. And maybe you answered this in the beginning. I came on a minute late, but why are you switching to DSCR? And are you switching, or is this just something you're trying?
If you're asking me specifically, because all the ad campaigns are still in the ad management area. Alex just asked me today to kind of go over DSCR, and for me specifically, why I went and went that route is I'm not competing with the Rocket Mortgages of the world and all the other people that want the jumbo loans, the conventionals, the VA loans, and those types of things. It's much more niche. I can become the product expert in that arena, I feel like, and because there's so many different lenders and different options and those things, when an investor talks to me, hopefully they now trust me to be their advisor in it. And they're not a person that buys a home today and maybe refinances 3 years from now, sells that home and buys another home 10 years from now. So you get what, 3 transactions out of that person. I got an investor who had 12 properties. We did cash out overall 12, and then he bought another investment property, and now he's going to do that again. Okay, so that's the reason I chose investors, is just because of the fact that they're typically, always trying to do business.
Right, there's more repeat business faster. Got it. All right, I was just curious about that because I just got started on this like 6 months ago, and now I feel like this is a new direction I should be considering.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're gonna get all types of people on here. Like, for example, Simon Glenn, great at HELOCs. I'd love to have him come talk. But obviously Trevor is definitely the most experienced, most successful, I think, out of all the lead hackers. He's probably done the most volume. So we want to get him in front of you guys so he can share a lot of the tips and tricks that he has. So Trevor right now, he's just doing whatever works. He's following the money, and right now DSCR seems hot for him.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, all right, guys. We appreciate everybody for coming on to the call. And don't worry, we're going to have a lot more treats for you guys. Like I said, we're going to get those Google reviews out soon. They're going to be piloted first by a small focus group, and then we're going to push that out. But I have another announcement that you guys are going to be freaking psyched about. And you're going to see a video pop up in your software very, very soon. But since you guys are here, we might as well tell you the good news. Starting May 1st, we are going to be adding afternoon coaching calls every single day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And not only that, but the morning calls are going to be moved from 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This way, you guys can come to both the strategy call and the technical call. And this is going to be starting May 1st. So we heard you guys. We answered. I know this is what you guys wanted for a while. I know, people were saying, well, I don't know if I should go to the strategy call or tech call. Now you can go to both. So guys, that is a total of 14 coaching calls a week that you guys are getting. Okay, you have 5 coaching calls once every single morning, 5 coaching calls in the afternoon. That's 10. You have 3 strategy calls with me. You have the CRM training with Brandon, plus obviously one-offs like this with Trevor and whoever else we get up here. But pretty exciting. So you guys are the first to know this. We're going to put an announcement out very, very soon. But yeah, we have now, it's morning and afternoon. Hopefully, guys, I see less support tickets because I'd much rather you come live face-to-face as opposed to me answering you on a tedious email. A screen share is going to beat an email 20 out of 20 times. And to be honest, I kind of don't like writing those emails. So we're going to put the afternoon calls in there, guys. And it's going to be starting May 1st, well, beginning of the month, May 1st. So appreciate everybody for hopping on here. Guys, make sure I put a link in here earlier to Trevor's YouTube. And you could honestly just search Trevor Gravink. And if you search Trevor Gravink on YouTube, that will bring you to his channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. This way you guys can get access to the DSCR calculator for free. It's a nice little tool you guys can use. So Trevor, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, spending time with our lead hackers here, man. Awesome workshop. So I'm really excited to put this in the Facebook group. Awesome job. Thanks,
Thanks,
so
Alex.
much.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys. Thanks everybody for hopping on.
Thanks, everybody. I already see a lot of subscribers, so I'll start sending that stuff out to you guys. Please don't message me about it. I will get it to you as quickly as possible. It'll probably take me a day or two. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.